Gibson Flying V Customs usually have one look and one look only. It's straight up ebony with some gold hardware. If you don't want that, you have to go through the made-to-measure program to do something a little bit more exotic, or look to small custom batch runs of the past. And of that nature, I say to you, look at this. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. This certainly steps up the game of Flying V Customs a little bit. We have the addition of a flame maple top. It looks like two pieces there. You can see the center seam. It's still all gilded out everywhere. You get your black pick guard multiply with the white layers in between. But it's this whole factory burst, really dark heritage cherry sunburst that just transforms the entire look at this. But if that top wasn't for you, I've actually seen a few of these pop up on Reverb. So that makes me think the custom shop made like 5 to 10 of these, sent them out to dealer, and said, who wants them? To which I say, yes, we need some more like these. But if you're not familiar with Flying V Customs, it was first introduced in the year 2002 in a small limited batch run and has been in production off and on since then. And if you're like, hey, custom, is there a standard? Yeah. Those exist too. This new custom model really kind of blends some of the elements of both. It's kind of like the 58 Korina style, except for they're made out of mahogany. They get the 7-ply binding around the top. Instead of being a rosewood fretboard with dot inlay, it's ebony, depending on the era. And you get the custom aesthetics on the headstock, 2-screw truss rod cover, and the binding along here. So in many ways, when I show you the price tag of this, $7,100 plus a whole bunch of money for shipping, you might think, ooh, that's pricey. But within Gibson custom shop land, typically you have to go to the Korina body $10,000 version to get this body style. Now to be fair, you don't get the rubber strip anymore, nor the gaudy Gibson logo, but even if you just come down to the base level one, without the flame maple top, they're $5,500. It's nice that these things still exist ever since Gibson went back into producing the Korina ones. Because Gibson used to create a mahogany version of this body style, and I think they sold it brand new for about $5,000. So what I'm getting at here, if you love the body style of the 58 Korina Flying V, but you don't want to spend quite that much, that's the niche that the Flying V Custom now fills. And based on the success of all the ones that I've seen selling really fast, I bet we might see some more fun colors. If you need something like this exactly right now when you can't find one at a dealer, maybe check out an early 80s The V. It's nowhere near the same, to be quite honest, but it looks similar. But since it's 2 for Tuesday, we're only going to cover guitars that have 2 legs this episode. So here's another gorgeous blue Flying V, this time in the 67 style layout. Which means we'll have a mahogany body on this one, but our output jack is located within here instead of its own location there, and a whole bunch of other small nitpicky details that I don't really want to get into this episode. I found the sapphire blue finish to be rather captivating, but on the backside of the headstock it's actually marked mod, which means this was one of the early refinished guitars, likely within the demo shop. Because if you look at our serial number, it actually dates to 2015, so this is one of those old guitars that they reworked. And from memory, it was the demo shop that was selling them at this time. It might have been pre-mod collection. But if you look at the headstock, calling this a 67 style wasn't necessarily correct. This was actually a 70s tribute before the 70s Flying V existed. It was a proprietary run for the Japan market, where they were trying to offer a slightly closer to spec 70s V. However, they didn't do that good of a job. Basically, you got a semi-what closer headstock and a volute on the back. So hey, that's fun. Those Japan Vs have been selling for like $3,000 just on their own. So naturally, a custom color one would sell quickly at $3,000. But next up I had saved in my watch list was a 2014 Flying V. This was one of those straight up mahogany body 58 versions that we were just talking about. However, it was custom color cherry. So imagine just without the flame top and that's what you'd be left with. I found that to be a rather striking custom finish on one of these. Imagine if there was a vintage original like that. Except for at that point, it'd be Korina wood grain underneath it. But that's a really nice dark fretboard on this one. Then I always find Vs that create a V pattern on the back kind of interesting. Maybe it would be more apropos to say an A pattern as the peaks and valleys occur. That's a really blocky D heel shape. Certainly not a color you see every day. And it's slightly based on history, because remember how I said, imagine if there was an original? You could find Les Paul Customs in this hue. If I remember correctly, it was like a UK dealer did a small batch of them or something. But generally speaking, they're outside of the price range of most people. So if you are looking for a Les Paul like that, I suggest checking out the mid-2000s 57 reissue Les Paul Customs. They have the mahogany tops. You can see through it. They're just gorgeous. Our next one popped up and disappeared rather quickly. This was reportedly an original 1967 Flying V. Quick little bit of recap history. After the original 50s run, the first full year that they came back in a production run was 1967. So this one in custom color sparkling burgundy, yeah, obviously it's going to be pretty expensive. Unfortunately, I just don't know enough about that market outside of that they are really desirable and there are dedicated Flying V collectors out there that have tons of them and have pretty much scooped up all the surviving ones. But this one looks like you don't have any finish on the neck. I'm not sure, is that part of the custom color or not? I know sometimes sparkling burgundy just completely fades out, but that looks natural to me. Oh, apparently that's a small thing. Verify that for yourself if you're ever buying one. Again, that's not my specialty, but if true, that is kind of cool. But next on our topic of slightly more affordable Korina style Flying Vs, you used to be able to seek out one of the old Heritage Series Flying Vs. It really wasn't that long ago when you could pick these up all day long for like $5,000. Nowadays, people tend to ask closer to that of a brand new one with good reason. These Heritage Series ones, they're not as accurate as what they're creating today, but they're pretty much vintage in their own right, and that's what gravitates people towards them. For me, this one caught my eye because it seemed a little bit darker than usual, like they maybe even used black Korina on it, but as I was reading through the description, they tell you it's been refinished. And then this is why I saved it in my watch list. Something's a little bit fishy right there. Somebody has carved something out of the back and then filled it in with a new piece of Korina. Now, I will say, they did a decent job matching the wood grain. And then it hurt my heart when it's, oh no, not one of the A serial numbers. But surely there's a story here. And restoring somebody doing a crazy modification is cool, but when you go down to the description and find out it's just because somebody engraved their name in the back of the guitar, that kind of makes me sad. I would have rather had somebody's initials in the back of it rather than this. Some things just don't need to be fixed. It's like when people used to etch their social security numbers into the guitar. But at the same time, it also could have been something weird or obscene and not just an initial. So you can't really judge the situation unless you know the full story. But that one popped up for $6,000. But brace yourselves for this one. I thought the Factory Burst was really cool, but this dark vintage Sunburst is just otherworldly. You get the addition of a third humbucker, but wait, what's that? Something unique in the neck. But then check out your output jack plate. It looks like they made it out of tortoiseshell material. It kind of blends in with the finish style that they've got going on here. But it looks like this one even has a little bit of custom aging to it. So if you're a fan of finish checking, this is going to be calling your name. But then, it's not a Gibson. Tricked ya. It's an Echo Park. Now I gotta remember, these are one of the guys that actually are licensing out certain Gibson body shapes, so they're allowed to sell this brand new and Gibson's cool with it because they get their cut. And then these places can get a little bit fancy and offer things that you don't normally get. But this one was sold for $5,000. And to end our flighted episode, we've got a Custom Shop 67 Maestro Flying V that's apparently a NAMM show display piece. I remember saving this one in my watch list because I thought, 5,000 NAMM show? Hey, that's not bad. So I clicked on it. Okay, 67 is exactly as they're advertising. Looks like it's got some finish checking to it. Doesn't necessarily look aged, so that might have happened just during shipping. Or who knows, we need to look at a few more photos. Maybe it was there. But it's got a regular headstock. Sometimes the NAMM show display pieces go really crazy. Other times Gibson just wants a core model in kind of a slightly cooler color, like white, to entice someone to pick it up back when they used to do these NAMM shows. But check out that heel. It's like gigantic. It's like a house back there. I wonder if that's just the particular photo angle making it look crazy. But I thought this was cool. A Winter NAMM 2020 display guitar. I haven't seen as many of those. I'm very familiar with the 2019 NAMM show ones. Their sticker's a little bit different. But we saw the weird heel, but it almost looks like this thing has a volute, which is not correct for a 67 style V. I think the lighting is just playing tricks on us. We've documented a few of those from this really cool SG with the quilty top to the R9. But the sticker that year looked like this. A little bit more boisterous and in your face. As compared to this one that's a little bit dainty. Even the styling for the COA sticker just seems a little bit not as prestigious, I guess you could say. I suppose that's why the 2019 sell for the big bucks, as the return of Gibson models. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care! If you're liking what you see on the screen, I call this one the 1957 Gibson Les Paul Special Mystic Maiden. Check it out on YouTube.